and the exchange rate to fall. And as of today, in February 2021, $1 is traded for 6.9 Turkish liras. Now, my first question to you, Cameron, why the fall or why the gain? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Straight Talk. We're here in the Istanbul office of Property Turkey with Cameron Deggin. Cameron, welcome. It's been a long while. But this episode, we'll be talking about the Turkish Lira. We have news, people. The Turkish Lira is gaining value. It is currently 6.9.
I've got my notes.
You got your notes?
I've got my notes. Look.
Currently, the Turkish Lira is standing at 6.9 against dollar. And... well, I mean, this might look high, but when you take a look at the position 6 months ago, it's actually, you can see that Turkish Lira is gaining a sizable value. Back in November and
I think
October
hit
months,
850.
Yeah, it was 8.5 at one point.
8.5, and now it's just under 7, which is almost a 20% recovery in 3 months.
Yeah. And I'll ask you a question.
Which is quite sizable. I think in terms of emerging markets, this is the steepest recovery in the last 6 months.
I checked other countries as well. I checked Russia, I checked South Africa, and I checked a few other comparable developing countries.
Emerging markets,
yes. None of them has this big of a recovery.
A recovery,
But let's be honest here, none of them had this big of a
dive such a big dive either. So let's call a spade a spade.
Let's but here's the thing. I'd like to give the 2020 performance of the Turkish Lira to our audience before moving into, the question section.
Okay, please, yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, last year, as of January the 1st, the Turkish Lira was standing at 5.9. In February, it hit 6. And then, as a result of the lockdowns in March and April, in May, it hit 7.1, which was the all-time high. June, July, when the markets were pretty active compared to the past couple of months, the lira went down to below 7 again. It was standing at 6.9 by the end of July. In August again, it went up to 7.3. And with the resignation of the then finance minister and the removal of the head of the central bank, the trend continued until mid-November, where $1 equaled 8.5 Turkish liras. The new head of the central bank and the President Erdogan have said that the new monetary policy will aim at stability in fighting the exchange rate, which allowed Turkish lira to gain value and the exchange rate to fall. And as of today, in February 2021, $1 is traded for 6.9 Turkish liras. Now, my first question to you, Cameron, why the fall or why the gain?
All right. I mean, let's not talk about the fall because we covered that in previous episodes. So let's kind of look at what appears to be the reasons behind this, noticeable strengthening, increase in Turkish lira. If you look at when Turkish lira starts to jump up, it's kind of November 2020.
That's correct.
And from November till sort of middle of February, third week of February now, it's strengthened by 20% against US dollar. That coincides with the replacement of the finance minister, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because the finance minister was replaced in November 2020.
That's correct, after he resigned.
Exactly. So if you were to ask me, Cameron, what would you say the 3 or 4 most fundamental reasons are behind the strengthening of Turkish lira? I would definitely say the replacement of the finance minister is one of them. I'm not going to go into the political reasons behind that, but the ex-finance minister, as you know, was the son-in-law of Erdogan, current president of Turkey, which, let's face it, in international markets, that type of a political family relationship
doesn't work very well.
Doesn't really signal a very independent financial mechanism in a country.
That's correct.
Okay, so and this was heavily criticized, not just in Turkey, but outside Turkey too. So I think that replacement had to be done, and it was done. And from what I can see, the current finance minister appears to be more capable. And I think that's the only way to express it, more capable. And let's not forget, back in July 2020, the head of the Turkish Central Bank was actually also removed and replaced. And the new replacement is also quite a capable person. So we've got basically what Turkey is trying to signal to the rest of the world is that, hey, we know we made a few mistakes possibly, and a few things went wrong. We couldn't handle interest rates, inflation, Turkish lira kind of rectangle very well, the triangle very well. So they've taken the steps, and the steps are working. So it's the positive signaling effect to the rest of that definitely plays a part. But the second thing is the GDP growth forecasts. The World Bank forecasts a 4.5% GDP growth for Turkey in 2021.
4.5.
4.5%.
That's pretty good.
Now, 4.5% GDP growth is quite substantial.
Especially for a developed economy like Turkey.
Well, of course, and also given that we've got the coronavirus, etc. So we're not necessarily as a world, we're not necessarily going through the best of times.
That's correct.
So 4.5% GDP growth is quite sizable and very promising. And again, it sends out a very positive signal about the Turkish economy. Now, in fact, the forecast is that by the middle of 2021, Turkey's manufacturing and economy will be at pre-pandemic levels already.
Yeah, so the recovery is going to be that fast.
Fast. If you compare this to, say, US and UK, they're talking about reaching the pre-pandemic levels somewhere in 2023.
Yeah.
So this is a very sharp recovery for Turkey. So
it is a very sharp recovery. I mean, part of the reason is definitely the dedication of the industries in Turkey. And another part of the reason is basically the size of the economy and how resilient, how agile the Turkish economy is.
Absolutely.
I mean, Turkish
it's a young economy.
Of course, it's a young economy.
And it's a young population too, so it can move pretty fast.
It has seen many big, catastrophes, financial catastrophes, etc. So it's a very agile economy, can adapt and move and grow.
And also, obviously, probably the main reason behind the Turkish lira strengthening is the interest rates policy.
Of course, yeah.
Because Turkey vowed to fight and curb inflation.
That's actually what happened in the last November when Erdogan came out and said, look,
we have to curb inflation at all costs.
Yeah.
And what they said, and which is very, very interesting, is what they said is that we will fight inflation even at a cost of lower productivity and lower GDP growth.
Yeah.
Now, and immediately they raised interest rates.
Yeah.
And they signaled that the central bank has signaled that throughout 2021, interest rates will stay high, if not increased a little bit further by around June 2021. So obviously, this immediately had an impact on the Turkish lira. And then when organizations such as the World Bank and the IMF, and today I received another note from the HSBC worldwide, when they are basically putting the GDP growth of Turkey in excess of 4%, despite the fact that Turks themselves came out and said, we will sacrifice GDP growth for lower inflation. Now that pushed up the Turkish lira because it basically signals to the rest of the world that, hey, this is a strong economy. There are some strong fundamentals despite, some upsets and issues along the way, but we're looking at a strong economy and we are looking at a strong recovery. So all these obviously increases investor confidence in Turkey and in Turkish products and Turkish financial instruments, which in turn obviously strengthens the lira.
Okay, all right. Now, without asking the obvious question, by the way, the obvious question here means, if the Turkish lira will gain any further value. I won't be asking this question because I want you to, make such claims. But in the past episode, you basically said that, look, Aladdin, given the current circumstances right now, it seems that the Turkish lira will actually gain value. You said that in our last episode when we were talking about the Turkish lira, right after the replacement of the finance minister and the head of the central bank, and it went up 8.5. Now it's 7. Now it kind of justifies what you say. It kind of proves that you were right. So we trust your judgment in this. And can you please tell me, in the upcoming 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years, up until 2023, what is expecting our foreign investors? Is the opportunity gone, or is there still opportunity for people to take advantage of the exchange rate?
Do you know, Aladdin? I think I said this the last time we talked about the Turkish lira.
Yeah.
Call me naive, but if I was a foreign investor, I wouldn't even look at Turkish lira. I would invest in Turkey, because Turkey is too important a country to let down.
Yeah.
Turkey is too important a country to let down, strategically, geographically, in all aspects of the world. It's the stability in the region. So a country which is the crossroads of East and West, Africa, the Middle East, will always prosper.
Yeah.
So whether lira is up or down, really, in the long scheme of things, in the big picture, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't make a difference. Because if you're investing in real estate, you shouldn't be investing in the short term. You shouldn't have a 12-month or an 18-month horizon. If you're investing in real estate, you should have a minimum 5-year horizon. And I would bet, as the Americans say, my bottom dollar, that over the next 5 years, any investor who's made a wise investment will gain. However, let's look at the current situation in Turkey with strengthening Turkish lira, which, as the interest rates are high, and the expectation is that they could be pushed up a little bit further even, middle of this year, which probably supports the idea that Turkish lira may further strengthen.
Yeah.
May further strengthen throughout 2021. Is that a good time to buy real estate? Yes. Why? Well, high interest rates means very slow domestic market.
That's correct.
Because cost of borrowing is sky high for Turkish people now.
That's correct.
And as you can see, the as you read from the statistics published by the title deed offices, etc., we are going through a very low domestic demand period right now. Well, when Turks are not buying, then prices are not going to go up. When Turks are not buying, then developers are more inclined to offer reasonable prices to foreign investors. That said, please do not expect 40%, 50% discounts.
Yeah.
If anyone is offering you such hefty discounts, it's only because the starting price is hugely inflated. So it's a gimmick, don't fall for it. But normally, under normal circumstances, when there is a strong domestic market, such as what we had about a year ago, well, about 9 months ago, just before Turkish lira jumped up and interest rates were hiked, Turks come out to play. And when Turks come out to play, the foreign buyer is no longer important.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, 95%, as I always say,
Yeah.
of the market is Turkish.
Well, actually, according to the latest numbers of 2020 real estate transactions in Turkey, 1.3 million transactions were made. Out of that, only 45,000 was for foreigners.
So
So
it's
that's
a Turkish
even
market.
that's
It's a
like
domestic
2.5% or something.
Very,
like that.
very low.
Yeah.
So this is not Dubai, Istanbul, or rest of Turkey. The fundamentals that apply in Dubai do not ever apply here, because
Correct.
this is a
Yeah.
domestic market situation. Turks are the main players here. So when the main player is cautious, when the main player is not out to play, well, then the foreign buyers have got the upper hand. So now that this is the position, if you're a foreign investor, and especially where Turkish lira is expected to strengthen further, and where you have a country whose GDP growth is expected to be in excess of 4%, which is a lot higher than most, if not all, developed economies, then it's a no-brainer that this is the country to invest in. And time is now. It's a no-brainer.
Cameron, Deggin, thank you very much for this amazing analysis. Guys, I hope that we provided you good information about the Turkish lira. This is rather an update on the situation. I'm planning to do more of these videos about the Turkish lira whenever there is a major change. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching,
Thanks a
and see you
lot.
in the next one.